How is it going, my collaborators? My name is Trey or Shay. I know I've been out long lately, but I've been eating my French toast today. So let's get back into the field and already discuss a new build. But since Chromatic has been out, it is time for your daily dose of your vitamins and your nutrients. Today we're going to be discussing Excalibur and as well as the melee as well too. You have a new augment that's involved here, as well as a lot of augments to use with Excalibur. But today we're going to use a Chromatic Blade for the build, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. But right now, let's talk about Chromatic Blade and Excalibur's ability. Since we are going to be putting this on this channel first off, we'll go over this real quick. So let's begin. Chromatic Blade is obviously the augment that is now decided to use for Excalibur. This is obviously in Chroma's terms, where you can change energy color for status proc increase. And for status chance to increase, it is increased by 50% for the blade itself on Excalibur. Exalted Blade is one of the weapons that have been reworked, but it's still kind of good with this mod as well. However, in the case, this could be useful for cold damage to slow damage down, or if you're in that pickle to actually do some health damage, that toxin could obviously bypass the health for the corpus as well too. Now for Excalibur, this is obviously the main Warframe, or one of the Warframes that you get in the beginning of Warframe. However, you do not decide to get them, then you have to defeat a boss to actually get Excalibur. I think it was Angus or the Hyena Pack, one or the other. I really forgot. I'll probably put the actual name on your screen right now, obviously, or maybe pass through. But let's continue on. Excalibur has a passive where it can deal increased damage and attacks faster when you're wielding swords, basically meaning you get more speed on the attacks as well as more damage as well. Especially if you apply steel charge, then you're doing amazing in your builds. Slash test is really quick. You're obviously doing pulling out your melee, exalted melee, and doing enemies damage on your enemy when you're moving. Radio Blind is obviously blinding the enemy and killing them, but you're doing a finisher kill because it opens them up to finishers. Radio Javelin is obviously pushing enemies away, like all your problems away, and be able to do doing high damage, but also impaling them and pushing them away into walls or something. I don't even use it that much, but the last one is Exalted Blade. This is obviously something a sword of pure light, and you're able to wield it as well too, and as well dealing with damage along there. With the passive involved with Exalted Blade, it applies. You're obviously doing waves of energy damage up into an enemy within a range or close range. One, you have damage in there. You have a blind as well too, aka like radio blind, but the lower energy cost, but also lower duration, and has a lower blind range as well too. Be warned when using this, because the blind range is gonna be, you may not notice it, but it is short, so that's why you go for no radio blind. But it's controversial and debatable. If you want to use one or the other, you just have to rely on energy wise to check if you're able to use one of them. So with everything said about Excalibur, this is obviously one of good frames that can deal with melee, but many people say he's squishy. I understand. I try to make him go for a long run and put some more armor to him, but it looks like that he won't be able to go that long. Maybe it could be a fun build, but also an end game build, but we're just going to be focusing on the melee build. And one more thing before we conclude this part of the section is that Excalibur's Exalted Blade takes the melee mods from your melee into its own Exalted Blade in there. So you're not only using your Warframe mods, but your melee mods to make Excalibur better. I think it's obviously said and done enough to tell you this, but that's one thing to recognize about this as well too. Right now I'm using Arcane Guardian, but I'm gonna have a list of arcanes that you can use for your build if you have any, but if you don't, then I understand. The focus system could be depending on what you want. Narrowmind is a little bit debatable, but I'll explain what it does later, because it's going to be something that it may come up or may not come up often because you may be blind to enemies. and the build can also change for the melee as well too. Excalibur's blind is obviously good for a little bit of a room, but not with the Exalted Blade blind, if you know what I mean. The armor with Steel Fire can obviously be up to 472, but Arcane Guardian can obviously make it reach a little more as well too. I would not suggest, what was it, Steel Charge? I think it was Steel Charge. The armor or mod, if you all know what I mean, because even though this armor mod for the aura isn't, I mean, Stand United isn't good, then you probably know where I'm coming from. It may not be great, but it puts a little bit more armor. You want more armor for the full potential. Now, let's go ahead and be done with this, because you're probably thinking, oh, Excalibur sucks and he has this rework, but he still isn't that good. So why are you showing this? Well, like it or not, I like the build for this, and I really am tired of seeing these builds going off and not having Excalibur being rated or being nerfed. But it's time for you to end up seeing what I have for you guys today. It is time for you to download some mods to use for the first time both sides of the builds. Right now, for the melee, you need Nikana Prime, or Dragon Nikana. You can also use Broken War and Galatine Prime, and obviously you need Excalibur for the build. And your build should be something like this if you have more room. If you need a Forma, then put it on. It can actually help you as well too. You have Prime Pressure, Healing Return, Blood Rush, Relentless Combination, Drifting Contact, Berserker Front, Scourge, and Volcanic Edge. You can use Corrosive on here, but it's up to you if you want to actually have that on. But I prefer Gas more likely, because you'll see next, because of the blind. Well, we all know that the self-gas nerf has been applied to update 20, but Excalibur can still blind and honestly make it so that you're not detected, and can apply gas to it, because the numbers will come up as well too when you have the build up instead for the gas. But I'll explain why I have these, but you can change them out for Blood Rush and Relentless Combination out for Condition Overload, which is obviously more likely extremely good, and also probably for Organ Shatter if you want to. The choice is yours. It's my personal build, but the choice is up to you. Now, my fully Excalibur build, you do have Steel Fiber, Prime Flow, and Continuity, Transcend Fortitude, Rage, Streamline, Vitality, and Chromatic Blade. You obviously know the stats chance, but you cannot see the actual stats of the actual Exalted Blade melee mod setup. So let me tell you this straight up: you have 15% crit chance as well as a 2.0 critical multiplier, and so far with the damage, I applied only 387.5, but without mods it's at 250 from damage, if you know what I mean. So few stats with mods, that's all said and done. You have Rage here for a reason, and Streamline is obviously to decrease energy wise. Dang, and now Kashi decides to invite me. So here's another thing I'm gonna include for here, and real quick. You have Rage and Chromatic Blade and these two. So let's go out the build, and let me tell you the reasons why I have Rage in here and Healing Return. So for synergy wise in Excalibur and the melee, Rage and Healing Return. So whenever you take damage on your health, you get your energy back. It makes that your Exalted Blade is lasting longer, and I may change up the build soon because it needs natural talent, but remember, it's up to you. But back while I was saying, if you have the choice to actually put in Rage, you can put Rage on, and obviously make sure that you're able to put on Healing Return if you have it. Of course, a max out will be very better, because once you take damage, you can gain the health back with the Healing Return. Why? Because you gain health back. Yes, Life Strike does the same thing, but you're dealing with channeling. Healing Return does it with status, and when you have when this weapon can obviously do status, trust me, 2 types of status will make it heal more better and faster. So Healing Return is more likely better than Life Strike. You don't have to worry about losing the energy more often. You can deal better chances with Healing Return. Otherwise, Life Strike will be like probably quicker to lose energy quicker, if I can say correctly. And here's another thing, Chromatic Blade can be synergized with Healing Return because of its 50% slash chance increase. You're basically making it more. Steel Fibers, they're not making too squishy, although I made Arcane Guardian here for a reason. I probably said I have 2 sets. Could also say that I may go for an Arcane in here, or with a melee, Arcane for the melee as well too. Well, you can't obviously put a melee Arcane on your melee. You can put an Arcane in your Warframe to apply to your melee, if you know what I mean, if you saw the list. But that's the reason why. Now, Blood Rush is there, even though Drifted Contact helps to increase the sash chance. But it's there because even though Excalibur cannot crit, it can possibly crit with a multiplier when you have this combination. Because you have Slash in the build slightly. I mean, yeah, Buzzkill is not on here, but you can do slash damage if you wanted to. However, this can obviously make it so where the multiplier will kick in and you get 1.5 to 2 to 3 and so on. You may not see slashes often, but if you don't, then I get it. I had it before I even made this build, and it was really amazing. This makes it so that you can go Naramon Shadow Step. So just to be clear of what I said, when you have the Contact, Blood Rush, and Relentless combination, you're able to crit with Excalibur if you have a slash kicked in. When the slash starts to kick in, you get a 1.5 multiplier. You get some points in because of the ticking bleed damage on the enemy, which then gets applied to points to the multiplier. Then you start beginning to crit on your melee, your Exalted Blade, which then allows you to go to Naramon Shadow Step if you choose to. However, if you want a different way out, I can suggest Madarai, since I'm hearing Rio talking about this as well. Yes, Slash could be also good and useful. Madarai could be good back again for the extra slash. I have not tested correctly, but that's one way to find out. Another thing also know is that you can obviously use Unaru for the extra armor if you want the extra armor in there, because let's face it, Excalibur is a starter frame, not the greatest armor ever, so the extra armor may be better if you have 2 sets of Arcane Guardian. If you do, then you can have the choice between Madarai or actually Unaru. I keep saying Vazarin. And those of you guys who just know what the focus schools are, then that's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to apply to. So Sagittarius is there. You have the Healing Return there for the Rage proccing, and if you don't want Blood Rush and Relentless combination, you can switch them out, as I just said, for Organ Shatter and Conditional Overload, because of the stats chance increase and the extra damage that you can get for 2 different stats applied for your Conditional Overload build. And honestly, I know when you have to say, oh, you can make a Conditional Overload build for Chromatic Blade. So yeah, there's different builds to go with it, like Condition Overload or Healing Return build. You can choose one or the other if you want to, but I obviously made this set and have it set and done and actually make it look good. Now for gameplay. Starting off, you want Excalibur to have more energy, and at times you can get one-shotted, but it's better to have actually about, let's say, yes, I'm trying to stutter a bit. With this being said, you can obviously take some shots, but you want to take a shot by an enemy. I don't recommend a bombard, and if you end up losing health before 500 health, you want to blind immediately. Matter of fact, once you take damage on health, begin to blind. You want to blind immediately before you begin to go down. That way, you're able to blind enemy and actually pull out your Exalted Blade. This obviously works and helps so much for me a bunch of times. However, if you're in Exalted Blade, you want to begin blinding one way or another. If you take damage on health, blind an enemy. Use one or the other to choose, because you may be losing energy or you may be losing health, but you want to actually blind an enemy when you take damage on health, because Rage will kick in, and if you have gas on your melee, you'll be doing blind gas damage applied on an enemy. This is actually good to actually handle. You probably do not know what the hell I'm talking about, but I've been doing this and testing it a lot often. Again, once you assault the blade, pull out your melee, obviously, and if you're low on energy, you want to start taking damage on your health. That's why I said Arcane Guardian is obviously good for this, but you don't want to take too much damage because you need to pull out your blind, otherwise you'll go down immediately. Not tomorrow, next week, I mean now, immediately, you're going to go down. And once you obviously want to do more damage, you want to obviously blind the enemies in the area. Choose between Exalted Blade Blind or the Radio Blind variant of the ability, because there are two different blinds. It's energy difference because it's debatable, and range debatable because if they're in close range, you should be able to blind them, or if they're in the short to medium range, then you have to use the radio blind, because you don't want to waste energy on doing wrong blinds. I've been messing around with blinding over and over. It still helps, but you want to be careful on energy wise. And with that, when the blind kicks in, you're able to do gas damage. As well as the rage and healing return, you have to be able to use the Exalted Blade, or if you're using a normal melee, then you can obviously do that. But you have to use the Exalted Blade to end up getting your status chance increased up there and get your healing back, because you're getting multiple status procs whenever you use an Exalted Blade. Not just gas, but cold or whatever it is you have for your actual energy color. Of course, I said, let me tell you one last thing. You probably need a separate energy color for you to actually have, you need a separate energy color to actually do some extra status chance health regeneration. Because I tell you this, whenever this happens, it's better to get extra health, and it's quicker to get extra health. Of course, if you go with the one status chance, one status type in there, you may see health, but not like extra health coming in. And it comes at a normal rate, but one or the other, you have to choose which one do you want. And it's actually still good on how to use it though. Okay, so with the Excalibur build, I told you what arcanes you need, I told you what focuses you need, and what build you are looking for as well too. Of course, you can change it up however you want to, it's up to you, but I made it so it works for me. It doesn't actually go long run, because you can still go down, and maybe it takes skill for me to do it, but I just made this build immediately and try to redo it over and over and over again to see how well and how long I can go for with Excalibur. Of course, this does not go well with frames that are killable. I mean, that can do killing, aka like, well, Harrow doesn't actually kill, but it stuns. But Wukong destroys. You don't want to get, if you're doing this solo, you gotta be careful. And the team, very careful, because they can take your kills within a second. So, the gameplay wise, I said and done, I told you this, I'll tell you this again. Line enemies to get the extra damage. Take damage from the health when you're low on energy, but when you're taking damage, make sure you blind the enemy. Don't take damage on shield, damage on health. It makes sense, and it helps you get your gas off immediately. So that's about it for today's video. I know this is very long. I need to put it in detail. Of course, you may not assume this is in detail, but let's get this thing wrapped up with a gift wrap. My name is Trey, or Shay. Hope you guys did enjoy today's video, but if you didn't enjoy your stay, then don't forget that like button, and if you took the time already, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. And my name is Trey, or Shay as well. And so fellow operators, I will see you later.